Welcome to Roleplay Cafe. I'm here to recap Session 2 of Swords and Wizardry Continual Light, which I entitled In Ruins. Alright, when we last left off, Lauren, David's character, had just discovered that his daughter, Lorraine, had been gone missing. Possible abduction. Colbert and Lauren had encountered a girl that was trying to run away from her seemingly captors, but they turned a blind eye and came down to Oakton. Well, from the description, Colbert learned that this girl from the tavern innkeeper's wife, the girl he described, was named Abigail. So he approached Lauren. Lauren's wife is crying out this information in the middle of town and drawing everybody to her. And she's begging the Reeve to do something when she notices Lauren and goes to him. All right, so the Reeve offers him anything that he can to help him assist in, tracking down these scoundrels. So at that moment, Brother Maynard, which had come up to facilitate the marriage festival, he was accompanied by two characters. One of them being Kevin's character, which was Brother Monty, which was a cleric, and Todd's character, which is the mage, Barlow. All right. Now Todd was there. His character was there to provide lighting because a lot of times the festivities can go late into the night. And Kevin's character was there just to watch over Brother Maynard along the trip, provide security, bodyguard of sorts. Nevertheless, Brother Maynard overhears what Barnabas is telling them and questions Barnabas. Barnabas backpedals and tries to save face and tries to explain away why he was, he had let 4 girls in the last 2 years go missing without tracking them down or even investigating it. So nevertheless, there was he does offer them anything that the town has, as well as he tries to get together a couple of other people to help, which actually in turn is 3 people. One of them being Thomas, which is a trapper that lives north of Oakton in the woods. And he was down there not only selling his pelts, but he was down there to get married to Lorraine, Lauren's daughter, the girl that had just gone missing. So when he finds out about this, he's begging Lauren to let him come along to regain his wife. Thomas's 21-year-old, pimply-faced, skinny young man, haggard, dirty-looking, wears a pelt, and much to Lauren's chagrin. Anyway, another person comes up, which is Graham, which is a local farmer, and his daughter Abigail had been abducted. So he's surprised to hear this. So he's in on it too. He's coming. Then we got Anders, which had accompanied the party originally down on the caravan that got waylaid, and he had escaped, lost contact with Colbert and Lauren, and he escaped south. So he lived the tale to tell, and he met him in Oakton. So the 3 of them joined the party. They head north. It's fairly easy trip for the first leg of it. This is a day's trip north. Now, as far as the map, Brother Maynard had come up from Kriegspiel, which is about a day south of Oakton. A day's north, you're going to hit a little bit shorter than a day is the ruins. A little bit past that is Waynesboro, which they discover is a small hamlet of about 5 little farms. And they were told that by the two men, supposedly now abductors of Abigail, that they were taking the girl Abigail to Waynesboro. Well, whether they were or not, it seems a little fishy. North of Waynesboro, you got Norvingard, which is a lot more populous, and indeed is where the caravan first led out from initially. So they're heading north. They're expecting to go to Thomas's home in the woods to get his supplies. Thomas keeps dashing off the King's Road into the wood line to search and scout and see if he can find any tracks and whatever else he's doing. He'd pop back in, but at one point he was gone for like 4 hours. They finally stopped at night to rest, wondering where he'd gone off to. After a while, he shows up to the side. He beckons Lauren over, quieting him, and points down the hill, down the ridge, and you see the two trolls are laying there, seemingly asleep. And Lauren freezes. He tries to get the rest of the party up quietly as possible to get out. Colbert is trying to hook up the horses, rolls a critical fail, and the harness falls loose, hit the ground, and horses kind of pull. Shakes a wagon. There's a lot of sound. Everybody freezes. I roll to see if the ogres notice. They critical fell on that. So luckily nothing happened there. They were able to pull away silently for the rest of it and get out. So they traveled a little bit further north. On his little, Thomas's little, when he was gone 4 hours, he had went to his shed and picked up what he needed to get and came back, tracked them down. And that's when he ran into the ogres. So they're going north along the road. Thomas keeps jumping off the path, and he does notice something when they get around the ruins. He has been up at the ruins and he sees something, so he's beckoning them to come up. Now, they stop the wagon. They leave Graham there, they leave Anders there to protect it, and we've got Barlow, the mage, Todd's character. We got Kevin's character, which is Brother Monty, the cleric. We got Colbert, Jason's character, and we got David's character, Lauren, and Thomas is already up there at the top. Those four go up to the top and they see what they had encountered before, at least Jason and David do, which is that ashen floor in the ring of this little courtyard right beside the keep, and the ruined walls, the circular ruined walls, and the big stone-like altar in the middle. Now, they go inside of the ashen area, all but Thomas, and Brother Monty is struck with a vision. He sees Brother Isaac's, which had been over Oakton and had gone missing 3 years. Hence, and which was one of the reasons why Brother Maynard was coming to facilitate the marriage festivities once a year. It couldn't be done. He'd been doing that for the last 3 years since Brother Isaac had left and not shown. But he sees Brother Isaac's ethereal, spiritual form standing there in a prayer-like posture in front of the altar, and he sees what appears to be the Baron over the ruin, his spectral form, come and stab him right in the back, and Brother Isaac falls over the altar. At this point, he falls to his knees And he looks up and he sees Brother Isaac's face fading in front of him and asking for help. So he knows that he has to, when he was witnessing this, he heard him, Brother Isaacson, the prayer. So his mouth moving, he was doing the prayer to try to redeem the place. And so he got about a third of the way through. And Brother Monty wants to complete that prayer. So he gets in the same posture and he starts the prayer. And at that point, flames, redemptive flames, light up inside that old ashen circle with all of them standing in there. And they begin to burn it slowly, purging them of their sins, so to speak. All right, but they're taking damage of this. They got to roll. If they fail a wisdom check, they will receive damage. At this moment, I think within 2 rounds, both of them, Todd's character, the mage Barlow, drops to the ground. David's character, Lauren, drops to the ground in heaps. They're down to 0. Now, what was amazing was Jason's character, Colbert, really low intelligence. He stays in there. He sees at this time, he has a low wisdom, but he makes his wisdom check. And then I think he fails it, and then he gets 2 hit points of damage. But while he's watching this, and every time that Brother Monty is saying his prayer, every section of this prayer, he has to roll his wisdom, is making it. If he doesn't roll his wisdom successfully each time, he has to restart that prayer. So he's been able to hold on to it and continue it, and he gets to that point, right where that point that Brother Isaac's got to, and that mound of trash and everything that they had seen over in the corner of the ruin. There is a skeletal corpse of a figure, a burnt ashen corpse, rise up out of that and come forward, and it starts burning too. And it is going straight to Brother Monty to stop him from praying, to arrest the prayer, stop it right where it is. And Colbert sees this and throws his sword, which misses and clangs up against the wall. It does leave a little bit of a penalty to the corpse, who is now trying to hit Brother Monty. He does miss Brother Monty right, and Brother Monty finishes his prayer at that moment. And he stands up and swings his maul, and he hits directly into the corpse. Now this time, when he hits him, the head flops over halfway, the neck opens up. He sees his spiritual essence, the same one that was the Duke, screaming and going straight up into almost a vacuum, and then disappearing. At this time, all the flames go down to nothing. Turns around, Colbert's still up, the other 2 are there. He runs over to Brother Monty, goes over there. He has 1 cure light wounds. He decides to cure Lauren and save him before he bleeds out. Got Todd's character, Barlow, is laying there, and Colbert goes over there and picks him up. So Colbert's the last thing that Barlow sees. And then Barlow gets up after a second, after he wishes him, a farewell, and adieu. He expires. Then Barlow sees, Colbert sees something over the side and runs over to grab it. They stand there and look over to the side. The tree that had been standing there has burnt to ash. There is a bird sitting in it. It's the same bird that they heard in session 1 when they were leaving, as a matter of fact. But it's sitting there untouched. It looks around and sings this song, and it flies off. Behind the tree, they see a door into the ruined wall. Now, below this was the side thing that would have taken on below. Since Todd's character has died, he's going to take over Graham. Now, we did this we did this in a play-by-post with roles. At this time, what's going on down at the wagon? Anders tries to surprise and attack Graham. When Anders sees the fire and what's going on and hears the commotion up the hill, up the ridge, and while Graham is looking, wondering what's going on, Anders tries to strike him. He misses on his surprise. They go at it. It is a very close battle, a 3-round battle. But Graham does end up taking him with his scythe. Anders drops to the ground. He's bleeding out. The other party comes down the ridge and down the hill back to the wagon. Anders sits there Graham sits there and spits on Anders. I knew he weren't to be trusted. So that is where we left off right there, and where we will be picking up for session 3. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks, and we will see you then. All right, bye-bye.